Hello, everyone. I'm Judge Janine Pirro, along with Jessica Tarloff, Jesse Waters, Martha McCallum, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. Liberal leaders are finally cleaning up San Francisco. But it's not because they want to fix the crime and drug-filled city for residents. It's all to impress world leaders and top CEOs coming to town for a big economic summit next week. The Democratic city has refused to lift a finger to address drugs, homelessness, and crime. But now that Joe Biden and President Xi are coming to town next week, the roads will be repaved, the streets power washed to get rid of all the graffiti, and the public transportation stations will have added overnight deep cleaning. It's so obvious what is going on that even liberal California Governor Gavin Newsom admits they are putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
I know folks say, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming into town. That's true, because it's true. But it's also true for months and months and months prior to APEC, we've been having different conversations. And we've raised the bar of expectation.
Folks are saying, this is not what I thought it was going to be based on what's been in the media. Because I think what happens sometimes is a moment, a snapshot is taken, and it's not always San Francisco, it's sometimes the Bay Area, it's someplace in some other city, and it's attributed to San Francisco. So I think we've gotten a lot of unfair press.
And over on the East Coast, if you try to stand up for victims of crime, you may be labeled a criminal yourself. One vigilante opening fire in a subway station in an attempt to scare away a would-be robber threatening to steal a woman's purse. He is now being charged with criminal possession of a firearm and reckless endangerment and is out on $10,000 bail. Okay, so Jessica, explain why it's more important to clean up the cities and roll out the red carpet for leaders like Xi Jinping than for ordinary American taxpayers. And do you buy that Gavin Newsom's, we've been working on this for months and months and months, as an excuse for not having done it earlier?
Well, it's not just Xi Jinping. President Biden's coming, Kamala's coming. It's a whole summit. And this happens everywhere, right? I mean, when you have someone come over, you clean up. Right? In our homes. And
you remove all the drug dealers from your front porch.
I tell Brian, you pick up that poop right now. This is unacceptable. So that part of it obviously doesn't surprise me. I do think, we've heard from London Breed and the new DA after Tessa Boudin got thrown out that the way San Francisco is not acceptable, that they will lose their first-tier city status from this, and that it's just devastating when you walk around and you see what's going on with the homelessness and the drug addiction. So, yeah, I do believe him about that, and I hope that this becomes a catalyst for fast-moving change, that they say, oh, this was so much nicer. What can we do to make sure that this is something that we can maintain in the future?
Martha, one of the things that the Chinese apparently know from their own version of TikTok, as well as from the media coverage that they are doing in China, is they say that San Francisco looks like and has been branded a, quote, ruined city, hell, a total failure. So the effort to bring in this Pacifico and China, whatever, this economic forum, do you think it'll last, that businesses will invest?
Well, it's a great point. The first thing that comes to mind when you bring up China is that they understand this kind of cleanup really well. They did it before the Beijing Olympics. If you remember, they basically moved the slum areas. They moved it so that everybody's traffic would not see a lot of what exists in their country. So this is a process that Xi Jinping is very familiar with, how to sort of whitewash the city and make things perfect for the people who are visiting so that they don't actually see the way people live there. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I think Gavin Newsom is cleaning up for his election as well. I mean, President Biden's coming. He has to do a cleanup job, and he doesn't want, the rest of the country, whose eyes may be on this APEC summit for a bit, to see the way that people are living in that city. And I'm reminded also, when you talk about economic incentives, of the days when New York had a huge turnaround, right? I mean, you had Giuliani, who did an excellent job, and you had Bloomberg, who also did an excellent job of policing tax policy, encouraging businesses to move to New York, lowering regulations, encouraging the police officers, backing law enforcement, giving them a recognition, at every step of the way. And you could see it. I mean, you just watched it turn around in New York City. So they can do that. It's really not as complicated as I think it might sound. They cleaned up people off the streets. They helped people to get into hospitals and rehab centers, which Eric Adams has said he wants to do. I think he got sidelined by a number of things, but that's something that he said he wanted to do. So I think it's cleanup for the 2024 election because we know that he's hoping that things will shift and he'll be able to run.
All right, Jesse, speaking of crime and what happened with Giuliani and followed up by Bloomberg, I mean, this week we saw a New York City guy who had a job, who was arrested for criminal possession of a weapon, reckless endangerment, for trying to help a woman who was being victimized, to say the very least, by someone who was mentally ill at a subway station who was trying to rob her. Now, what I find most interesting about it, Jesse, is that the guy who shot off a warning shot had a college degree. He's had one job for 17 years. He had to post $10,000 bond. The mentally ill guy who attempted to rob and has been arrested and is homeless has no bail. How fair is that?
No, it's like we're living in an age where you are throwing real men in prison and you are letting weak predators get out on bail. And I'm not saying this guy shouldn't have done what he did. I don't know if you should be licking warning shots off on the subway. Maybe I would have put the gun up like this and aimed it at the guy and say, scram, vagrant. Maybe that could have done the job. But the point is this. You are criminalizing masculinity. There is a masculine instinct to protect women who are in a vulnerable position. And if you continue to do that year after year, what you're going to do is you're going to destroy honor in New York. And if you destroy the police and if you destroy manhood, you're going to see an era of predators where predators are going to run wild. And all the women and all the liberals are going to say, hey, wait a second. What? Well, this is the result of what we've been doing over the last several years. And in terms of Gavin Newsom, the reason you clean up for people when they come over is because you want to show them respect. And if you yourself live in filth, then you don't respect yourself. So if I was a taxpayer in San Francisco, they're using my money to show respect to the Chinese and not clean up for me. That means the politicians in San Francisco do not respect the taxpayers. And Jessica, they have big summits in Chicago, New York, Houston. It's not a story when they clean up for people because they don't have to clean up so much. San Francisco has let it fester to the point where cleaning up this much. You don't see that kind of stuff in Chicago like that. In terms of quality of life, there's crime. There's not people with needles sticking out of their arm as kindergartners walk to school.
But shooting 5-year-olds through windows.
Yeah, there's crime. There's crime.
Yeah.
But it's talking about quality of life. We're trying to send a camera to the Tenderloin tonight to do a story.
Well,
and we wouldn't even have the cameraman go there. He refused to go.
Wow.
Said it's too dirty, too dangerous.
All right, Greg.
And you fired him, which I thought.
And now he's fired.
Yes.
Greg, you could talk about crime. You could talk about Xi Jinping.
I think, China gets the red carpet, the residents get the brown carpet. And it can't, and they said they needed to get on the ball because they were having company. It's not like having company. This is more like having child care services show up. So hide the drugs, put the bruised kids in the back room. This is not about impressing. It's about hiding. I mean, they're trying to impress China. Why don't you take care of the Asians in your city first? There's no shortage of high-profile anti-Asian crime in San Francisco. In 2022 alone, there was something like 567% increase in reported Asian hate crimes. And those are what was reported. Not actual, but reported. But here's the big point, which, Martha, you made. America never used to do this. They never had to do this. You could come to the city and it would be great. You didn't have to throw a fresh coat of paint on squalor. That was the practice of communist hellholes. We called them Potemkin villages, Jesse. Use that tonight.
Potemkin villages.
That was where you construct a facade, right, to trick people into believing a city that is a dump really isn't a dump. So whether, when one of our presidents went to China or USSR, they just sweep up the poor, they'd paint over the decaying eyesores, fix up the buildings, and for a few days the city would sparkle. So we've always been saying, like, what happens to these cities when liberals take over? Do they get their communist utopia? They did. They did. It's a turd with a coat of paint. They got exactly what they wanted. As for what happened in New York City, we predicted this, that when you handcuff the police and you release deranged criminals, what can a citizen do? And Dagan McDowell made this point, that self-defense becomes self-help. But if you have I thought his weapon was legally owned.
From 13 years
It was
ago.
legally owned. It was.
And someone's in distress, and this is to Jesse's point, you might feel compelled to help.
Right.
But in this city, the way it is now, would you? I mean, look what happened to Daniel Penny.
Exactly.
If you step up, you get screwed. And that changes the way a man thinks. And Jesse.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.